Hi folks, this is Diana here from Happy Goats Farm. We are a micro raw goat dairy in Holliston, Massachusetts. We raise alpine goats and we sell fresh raw goat milk. Today I'm here to teach you guys how to make a raw Chevre. Chevre is a classic soft goat cheese. Most folks have had it. Tends to be kind of tangy. This goat cheese will be better than any goat cheese you can buy at a store. It will be fresh, it won't be bitter, it'll be delicious. So we're gonna just go over how to make cheese. It's super easy. At first I was really intimidated, but then I just learned that it's really easy to do. Most important thing about making cheese is you have to follow the instructions. We are selling a cheese making kit for $10 at our storefront, and it will have the recipe, it will have all the equipment, all the supplies that are needed. So when you make cheese, the first thing you do is you heat up the milk. And so this is we're making a raw cheese. I'll do another video on how to make this version, a pasteurized version of it. But today I'm going to heat up the milk to 84 degrees, and then I am going to add a culture. This is called MM100, just a real classic cheese making culture. It's freeze dried, it comes from France, it will come in your kit. And the culture is kind of what flavors the cheese, is one of the aspects besides the quality of the milk that will flavor the cheese. And we're going to wait a little bit, and then we're going to add some rennet. And rennet is also a coagulant, and its job is to create a chemical process that will separate the curds from the whey. So we'll go over all this, and then we're going to wait. We're going to mix that all together, and then we're going to wait and come back. And around anywhere between 8 and 12 hours is a great amount of time to come back. We're going to show you what the curd looks like and how to strain it, and go for there. So right now I'm going to heat up. I'm going to pour our milk into a stainless steel pot, and I'm going to heat it up to 84 degrees. One of the things you will need, which we do not have in the kit, is a thermometer. I like the digital thermometers. I also have the laser thermometers. I find this more accurate. What's really important with cheese is just to be accurate. If you overheat it, you could still cool it down. But between 82 and 86 is the ideal temperature for a raw cheese. The milk, when it comes out of a goat's udder, is somewhere between 100 and 102 degrees. It then gets quickly cooled down to somewhere around 36, 37 degrees. So now I'm going to heat this up on the stove top. And it's just going to take a couple of minutes, and we're going to circle back once we're at 84 degrees. Hi folks, we're back. We've heated up the milk. One of the things I forgot to say that is needed, this is called a metal slotted spoon. So as I heated it up, I stirred the milk, while with one hand and the other hand I kept the thermometer in. It really took just a minute or two. This is a fairly thin stainless steel pot, so it heated up really quickly. There's lots of things that could go wrong if you overheat milk. Unless you're going over 160 degrees, you're not going to get into too much trouble, but you ideally want to have the milk heated evenly, and stirring will allow that. So now that I'm at 84 degrees, I'm going to add in the culture, the MM100, and it requires, so per gallon, we're making a 1 gallon batch, but for a gallon I will use 1/8 teaspoon. You could either use a half of a quarter teaspoon if you have it. This I have gotten off of Amazon, and it is actually 1/8 teaspoon measure. just gonna use a level teaspoon. And in this kit we've developed to make at least 10 batches, at least 10 1-gallon batches of cheese. So I'm adding my 1/4 of a teaspoon of MM100, and it just sits on, an 1/8 of a teaspoon of MM100. It just sits on top of the milk. And now I'm gonna set my timer for 5 minutes, and we'll come back to this before I stir it in. All right, now it's time to stir in the culture into the milk. So again, I'm gonna take my slotted spoon. I'm gonna just stir it in. Okay, the next step we need to do is add the rennet, which is the coagulant. And depending on the type of cheese you make, would depend on how much rennet you would use. So with Chevre, you only need 1 drop per gallon. And included in our cheese kit is just this nifty little tiny dropper bottle for things to be easy. When you're mixing rennet, you always add some filtered water, either filtered or distilled water. We have a reverse osmosis water filter system. So we're gonna first use about 1/8 of a cup of water. And now I'm going to mix 1 drop of rennet, put 1 drop of rennet in. And if you end up putting 2 drops in, I would dump that out. If you put in too much rennet, it will kind of give a chalky taste. You won't be happy with your cheese. So really, it just needs 1 drop. Don't think more the merrier on this one. So I'm just mixing the rennet into the water. And then I'm going to pour that water, that mixed up rennet solution, into my milk. And I'm gonna mix it. Some people say mix up and down. I don't honestly think it matters. I've probably done this thousands of times where I've made Chevre. So I just wanna make sure it's evenly mixed. And now that it's all mixed in, I'm going to put the lid on it, on my cheese. And I'm gonna come back somewhere between 8 and 12 hours, and we're gonna check on it. All right, we're back, and we're gonna take a look at what the curd looks like, and we're ready to drain our curd. Draining our curd, so right now we have a curd and we have whey. We have to separate the curd from the whey. So we're gonna do a close-up of what this pot looks like. This was the Raw Chevre. And I'm just gonna jiggle it. So there's the whey on top, there's gonna be whey around the side, and this is the curd. It's actually a very nice curd. After making lots and lots of cheese, this is a really nice curd. And inside the curd is also going to be a lot of whey. So now it is draining time. The one thing I wanna say about whey is it cannot go down the drain. Whether you have a septic or you're on a city sewer system, whey is way too acidic for the drain. This, for many people, whey is a health food. They drink it. You can feed it to your dogs, your animals, your chickens. I often put it into my garden. I'll water it down to like halfway, half water, and I've grown the most amazing, huge vegetables. It's full of amino acids, minerals. I've even dehydrated it. I have a big dehydrator. So there's a million things to do with whey, but most important, do not put it into your sink. All right, so this is just a nifty, I'm gonna grab a spoon. This is this nifty bag. And the other thing you're gonna need is a wood spoon. I use a wood spoon. I'm gonna basically we're gonna get the curd into this bag. There's gonna be a lot of whey, and then we're gonna wrap the bag around the spoon and just gonna leave it on the countertop while it drains. Sometimes I get help doing this. If you're doing this with one of your kids, you could say, help me hold the bag. This is going pretty well. And there's really not much curd left on the sides. And now I'm going to zip this back. I'm just going to show you. And so now it's letting out whey. And I'm going to wrap the bag in my wood spoon. And it's just gonna hang out there. So do you want to we're gonna do a close-up so you could see what this looks like. And periodically, I will dump this whey into another container so that you don't want the whey to hit the cheese or you're gonna stop draining. This process takes anywhere from 6 hours to 10 hours. You can over dry your cheese, and it's something, if it's too dry, you could add a little whey back. Sometimes after the end of this process, if it's still a little wet, we'll talk about that in the next video. I will just put it in the refrigerator in a bowl, and within some hours it will dry. But at this point, it's just draining all the whey. We're gonna save the whey and do something fun with it. I'll probably just put it in my garden. And it's fine to leave this on the countertop. If you have room in your fridge, you could put it in the fridge. But unless it's the summertime and you don't have, and it's really hot out and you don't have AC, I've never had a problem leaving it on the countertop. The cheese has been draining for around 8 hours. We're going to take a look at what it looks like with the whey in the pot. And we're going to see whether the cheese is ready to be taken out of the draining bag and have salt added to it. So I'm going to open up the draining bag, and when I'm ready, I'm going to put it in this bowl. And so this is what it looks like. It actually looks pretty nice to me. Just want you to get a close up here. So that looks pretty good. Might still need a little bit of drying, which will finish the last piece off in the refrigerator. But now from here, I'm going to put the curd in a bowl. The wonderful things about these bags is you'll be able to rinse them off, wash them. I throw mine in the laundry, or you could hand wash them in the sink and reuse these probably 100 times. So here's the cheese. This is what it looks like. And I'm just putting a spoon through it. I'm actually pretty happy with this at 8 hours. And I'm seeing how wet it is. It probably could go a little bit more in the fridge. But right now I'm going to add salt. So always, to help bring out the taste of the Chevre, we always use salt. Often I use the diamond salt. You use a non-iodized salt. Unfortunately, we are out of the diamond salt, and we're going to try this. This is a new one to me, but as long as it does not contain iodine or caking agents. So for instance, the Morton's kosher salt is a no-no. We're going to try this. I'm not sure. And I'm just gonna probably I would start with, I've done this so many times, but I would start with a 1/4 teaspoon, and then you just mix it in. And then I'm going to taste it to see if it has enough salt. But before I taste it, I'm just going to weigh it because I already tared this. And so actually a gallon of milk, we're going to show this, made 1 pound and 11 ounces. So that's pretty good. Probably could dry out a little longer and to remove the whey, but really from just a gallon of milk to make that much cheese is great to me. So I'm gonna taste now. I'm just gonna taste this to see if I added enough salt. My hunch is I didn't add enough salt, but actually it tastes really good. I'm happy with it. I'm gonna mix in the salt a little better. and it's still a tiny bit wet. And how do I know? I'm just gonna show this so it's a little closer. Just because I've made this so many times, I could tell it's just a tiny bit wet. So I'm gonna just put this in the refrigerator now, and I'm gonna let it dry for just a couple more hours, and we're gonna come back to it. And then we're gonna see about adding in some herbs and some other things to make it just even more, taste even better. Now it's time to look at the Chevre after we've let more of the whey dry out from it. We have 2 different bowls of Chevre. This one is actually perfect and ready to be worked with. Just want folks to get a sense of what the consistency is. And this one still has a little bit whey, if you could see at the bottom. So I'm just gonna try to drain out that whey without having the rest of the cheese fall into it. I'm gonna stir it a little bit, and I'm gonna put it back in the refrigerator. And that's not uncommon to have just a little bit of whey continue to drain out while it's in the refrigerator over a couple of day period. And this would actually be fine to work with. It's a little wetter than this one, but I think it'd be great to work with. So now I'm gonna show folks just how to present the Chevre, what you could add. You could season it, you could add herbs. One of the things that I do is sometimes, this is a silicone cupcake tray pan, and so sometimes I'll take some Chevre and I'll put it in here and then just throw it in the freezer for a few hours. Then it just becomes really easy to get those little slightly frozen cupcakes, Chevre cakes out, and it just is nice for display. And then another thing, so one of the herbs I love to use to season Chevre it's called Herbes de Provence. You could buy it at Whole Foods, you could buy them online. It's basically basil, thyme, rosemary. Sometimes it has lavender, sometimes it has marjoram in it, and it just makes a wonderful seasoning. So we're gonna mix up some Herbes de Provence, and there's a ton of different seasonings you could put in. You could use honey. You could sometimes I've done actually dry apricots and ground that up, put that in the food processor, and that's really wonderful and amazingly sweet. So I'm just mixing up the Herbes de Provence. I'm going to add a little bit more. Some people like the Herbes de Provence on top. You could use garlic, you could use a little bit of olive oil, and thyme is another. There's a cheesemaker out in Western Mass who does just beautiful cheese with garlic and thyme and a little bit of olive oil. I just find this is such an easy mix because I don't have to think about it. It already comes this way. And then I'm just gonna scoop it into a nice little bowl. And if I was serving this at a party or having friends over or just with my family, it's nice from here. You can have crackers. And this is another thing I like to do with Chevre is I like to add some dried tomatoes. That's another thing you could buy. These that we actually made, we grew in our greenhouse and then dehydrated them, but you also could buy these at a Whole Foods or buy them online. And it just, because they're so sweet, I guess I love the contrast of sweet versus salty and the fat that's inherent in the cheese. I'm gonna just add a few more. Another fun thing is to make a fig jam, which is pretty easy to take dried figs and add some sugar and some water and cook that down for maybe an hour, and then you have just a wonderful fig jam. So we're just making a lovely cheese board. It would be great if we had some dried fruit, some nuts, but it's just a really fun thing to do. And now I'm just going to show you guys how to make kind of a log roll. That's what often Chevre is sold in the store. You've seen it come in a tube. So we're going to try to make a Chevre tube where we roll it up. It's sort of like if anyone's made sushi, the nori rolls, you kind of make it into a tube. We're just rolling it. Honey is a really fun thing also to drizzle over this, honey or maple syrup. So I'm just rolling this up. And there we have, it's just lovely, lovely little tube. And let's taste some of this stuff. I think it's gonna taste delicious. So this is the Chevre with herbes de Provence. I love that. It's actually really yummy. This is one of my favorites with the sun-dried tomatoes. Gosh, I love those tomatoes. I love this. And then this is the plain. Also just delicious. So here you have it. This is your beautiful cheese plate, Chevre cheese plate. I'm sure you guys could think of other lovely seasonings to add and have fun with it. The cheese making kit and the goat milk are available daily at our farm stand at Happy Goats Farm. It's a self-serve farm stand. It's super easy to go in, grab your milk, grab the cheese making kit. You will be so happy you did this. You'll make the best Chevre you've ever had. The milk is fresh, it's milked daily, and is really just delicious and local milk and cheese you'll create.